stars were quiet. It's too quiet. Lieutenant Kara Miles sat in the cold, dim control room of Outpost Helios, orbiting Neptune. It was the last human listening post before deep space. For years, they had picked up nothing more than cosmic noise, and the occasional meteor bounce, boring, predictable, until now, a red light blinked on her console. A low-pitched hum followed. Not an alarm, not an error, something. New Kara leaned forward. Her fingers tapped the side of the screen. Numbers rolled across the feed frequencies, too precise to be natural. Her heart skipped. Control. This. Is Helios 3? She said into the com. We have a signal. It's structured. It's not ours. A pause. Then a voice responded, calm but tense. Helios 3, confirm that. Repeat, confirm signal, is artificial. Kara stared at the waveforms dancing on her screen. They pulsed like a heartbeat, slow, even perfect. Confirmed, she said. It's not Earth-made. It's not random either. Someone's talking. The voice on the other end changed. Copy that. Begin full recording. Do not respond to the signal. Do not attempt contact. Understood. And just like that, the quiet of space was broken. The transmission lasted. Exactly 3 minutes and 42 seconds. No words. A message anyone could understand. Just pulsing tones. Then it stopped, and something else happened. One by one. The other listening posts on the outer edge of the solar system went offline. Mars Relay Station, the Titan probe network, even Luna's deep scan array, all dark within minutes. No explosions. No distress calls. Just silence. Kara's stomach twisted. She turned to her partner, Engineer Milo Tack. His eyes were wide, pale. This isn't a glitch, he whispered. They're being shut down. How? Who? Kara asked. Milo didn't answer. Instead, he turned back to his console and started running diagnostics. Kara tried to call the other posts. Static. Only Earth remained. But even Earth was silent for a moment too long. Then a voice came through. Not automated. Human, General Roland, commander of Earth Space Defense. This is Earth Command. All outer systems are to lock down. All listening posts are to hold position. No transmissions, no movements. Repeat. Lock down. A warship is en route. Kara froze. A warship. Milo blinked. They're sending the Vanguard, Earth's newest, most advanced warship. It had only been revealed last year, during a brief military parade over Tokyo. No one outside High Command even knew what weapons it carried. They weren't supposed to launch it. Until Earth faced a real threat. And now, something out there had. Made humanity afraid. Kara stood up from her station and looked out the observation window. Beyond Neptune, the stars shimmered as always, peaceful, cold, empty. But it no longer felt that way 2 days later. The Vanguard passed Mars. It was a monster in the sky, 3 kilometers long, shaped like a spear, painted black. No windows, no markings, just a thin silver line running down its center. Even Kara, watching from her station, felt a chill. A voice came through every station. This is Captain Elias Rourke of the Vanguard. We are responding to the signal anomaly. Outposts remain silent. If contacted by any unknown source, do not respond. Captain Rourke was a legend. Former fleet commander? Cold. Unshakable. He didn't smile. He didn't panic. He was in charge. Earth was taking this seriously. The Vanguard didn't move like any other ship. Its engines didn't leave trails. It was fast, silent, invisible. When it wanted to be, it passed Helios 3 like a shadow, then vanished beyond Pluto. And the silence grew deeper. 2 more days passed. Nothing. No new signals. No ship activity, Kara, and Milo barely spoke. They kept checking their feeds, listening, waiting. The quiet itself was becoming a threat. Then the Vanguard sent its first report. A scrambled video feed. Patched through all military channels. The screen showed a black field of space and a ship. Not human. Huge. Oval-shaped. Covered in what looked like silver vines. No lights. No movement. A voice crackled over the video. "We've located the origin of the signal. Alien vessel, unknown class. No response to hails. Life signs, minimal. Approaching with caution, then static. For 5 minutes, every screen on Helios 3 stayed frozen. The alien ship just hung there lifeless. Then something moved. A section of the alien hull opened, like a petal unfolding. A small object floated out shaped like a sphere, but glowing blue at the core. The screen shook. Lights flared. The feed. Cut. Kara jumped up. "What was that?" Milo was already scanning frequencies. Electromagnetic burst. Not a weapon, I think. A signal. Again. This time, it was clearer. Less random. It repeated boom, boom, boom. Then a pause. Then again. Kara felt her blood chill. Gets a countdown. Earth Command confirmed it moments later. This is Earth Central. All systems prepare for possible. Contact. Unknown vessel may be active. The Vanguard is moving to intercept. Do not engage unless fired upon. But something was already wrong. The Vanguard didn't report in again. 1 hour passed, then 2, then 4. No contact, no data. The most powerful ship humanity had ever built had gone dark. Earth scrambled to back up fleets. Older ships, slower, less equipped. The alien vessel remained on screen, floating silently. It hadn't moved. It hadn't fired. It just waited. And then it opened again. This time, a light came from inside. Not a weapon. Shape, a humanoid. Figure, no suit, no ship. Just floating. Kara leaned closer to the monitor. "Are we seeing this right?" The figure turned slowly toward the camera feed. Its eyes glowed. Its mouth moved, and then the stars shook. For a moment, every screen on Helios 3 went black. Every light flickered. Milo screamed, and then silence returned. Not the peaceful kind, the terrifying kind. When the feeds came back online, the alien vessel was gone. Just gone. No trace. No energy trail. Not even debris. But something was left behind. A single message on every human screen written in strange symbols, followed by one translation. "We were not ready, but you are." No one knew what it meant. Was it a warning? A challenge? A goodbye? Earth Command was silent for hours. Then, late into the next night, a single image leaked the Vanguard. Drifting, damaged, empty, not destroyed, not attacked, abandoned, its crew, gone, no bodies, no signs of struggle, just silence, and on its control. Panel, a final note left by Captain Rourke, handwritten and scanned. We opened a door. It didn't close behind us. Kara stared at the message. Milo whispered, "Do you think they took him?" Kara didn't answer. Out in the dark, something was watching Earth. And now, new humanity had a warship. And Earth had just stepped onto the galactic stage. For better or far worse. Space was never quiet like this. Captain Elias Rourke had been trained for combat, for alien threats, for betrayal and black holes, but not for emptiness. He stood alone on the Vanguard's bridge. The lights were dim. Systems ran on minimal. Power, the crew gone, not dead, not missing, just gone. There were no signs of violence, no blood, no airlock logs. No life signs anywhere on the ship, just their things left behind. Half-finished meals, a chessboard mid-game, child's, drawing tacked to the wall of a crew pod. In silence, Rourke didn't remember how he survived. He only remembered the light, that strange blue pulse from the alien ship, then a voice in his mind, and after that, darkness. When he woke up, he was the only one left, outside the stars, burned as usual. Distant and different. He activated the emergency beacon, but he didn't know if it worked. The comms panel blinked, read interference. The alien ship had vanished completely. No trail, no signature. Just the void. He hadn't moved the Vanguard since. He was afraid. Back on Earth, Kara Miles was still at Helios 3. Milo paced behind her, silent. Both stared at the main screen, which finally showed a signal. The Vanguard's emergency beacon. He's alive. Milo whispered. Kara's fingers flew over the keyboard. Maybe it's faint, or static-like. Something's jamming it. But it's him, right? It's Captain Rourke? Kara nodded slowly. Yeah, but the ship's not moving. It's just sitting there. Maybe they're still inside, Milo said. Maybe they're just in hiding. No, she said, voice flat. If the Vanguard had a crew, they'd have called by now. Something's wrong. A voice broke through her headset. Helios 3. This is Earth Command. Confirm Vanguard signal. Confirm, Kara said. Signal locked. Low strength. No voice data. Just the emergency code. There was a pause. Then do not send a response. Stand by for retrieval. Unit, maintain silent watch. Kara pulled off her headset and looked at Milo. They're sending someone to pick him up. Milo frowned. Why not just talk to him? They're afraid, she said. Something happened on that ship. Something they don't want spreading. The next day, a shuttle left the lunar base and made its way toward the Vanguard. Inside was Commander Avery Hale, a cold and efficient officer known for doing what others wouldn't. She had a simple job: recover Rourke, secure the ship, and report. No matter what she found, when Hale arrived, the Vanguard floated like a ghost. Lights off. No signs of power yet. Life support. Still active? The airlock opened with no resistance. She stepped inside with her 2 Marines, weapons drawn. Hello? She called out. No answer. The ship's walls were covered in a thin layer of frost, as if it had been drifting in deep space for years, not days. The bridge was empty except for one man. Captain Rourke sat in his chair, helmet off, eyes half open, alive, but strange. He looked at her, blinked slowly. They're watching, he said. Who? Hale asked, frowning. The ones behind the silence? The Marines scanned for threats. Nothing. No life. No signs of anything alien. But the ship's logs were corrupted. Every audio file scrambled. Every camera feed wiped. Every internal message deleted, all except one. Hale found it in a locked directory, shielded under Rourke's name. The file was video blurry, shaky, glitchy, showed the alien ship, then a bright blue light, then silence, then something else, a shape, not metal, not human, not alive, but not dead either. A thing made of shifting light and glass and shadow. It didn't walk, it floated, and it moved through walls like fog. The last frame of the file was Rourke's own eyes staring at the camera, and a whisper in the background. We were never meant to speak. Hale backed away from the terminal. This ship is tainted. What did they do to my crew? Rourke asked, still in a low, slow voice. She didn't answer. She called Earth Command. This is Commander Hale. We've recovered Captain Rourke. What the Vanguard is compromised. Recommend scuttling the ship. A voice crackled through. Negative. Bring Rourke to Mars Command. Leave the Vanguard in orbit. Do not attempt to erase logs.
How about it?
Orders confirmed. Return immediately. Hale didn't like it, but she obeyed. Rourke barely moved. As they flew back, he just stared out the window. They're not gone, he whispered. They're just quiet. 2 days later, Earth Command held an emergency meeting. Behind closed doors, no public statements, no news leaks. But rumors spread fast. People began to say the Vanguard had gone into a dead zone, some kind of forbidden space outside normal physics. Others said the crew had been taken by a race older than the galaxy, and some quietly said Earth had been warned and ignored it. Then something else happened. One of the moons of Jupiter Callisto sent out a distress signal. An unknown object entering orbit. No communication. Station. Going dark. Within hours, the research base stopped transmitting. Drones sent to investigate found the station intact, but empty, exactly like the Vanguard. Same signs, no damage, just missing people, carved into one of the walls, in perfect lines. A new message. Second voice heard. First still waits. Earth Command locked it down, but it was too late. The stars were no longer silent. Other races hidden in the deeper parts of the galaxy noticed. For the first time, the Galactic Council spoke of Earth openly. Monitors that had watched humanity quietly for centuries now buzzed with alerts. Humans had triggered something. Not a war, not yet. Something older. Something buried in the dark. The Council feared it. Long ago, their ancestors had faced something similar. A race that didn't speak, that didn't trade. That only came when called by accident. They called it the Quiet Veil. And now, Earth had pulled the veil back. Back on Earth, Kara was called in for questioning. "You were the first to log the signal," the official said. "Yes. And you saw the Vanguard's transmission?" "Yes. Do you believe what you saw?" Kara looked at him. "I believe something was watching us," she said. "And now, it's listening." In the sky, far beyond the moon, the Vanguard drifted silently, and behind it, something shimmered in the stars. Watching, waiting, still silent for now. The Galactic Council met in secret, far from Earth. On a station that orbited a dying blue star, 12 alien races gathered in a cold metallic chamber. The air shimmered with tension. Holograms flickered. Old enemies sat side by side. At the head of the table sat Archon Varel, a tall being of silver skin and glowing eyes. He spoke slowly in a deep tone that made the walls hum. Humanity has entered the silence. The chamber fell even quieter. A short creature with yellow fur tapped its claws on the table. "The Quiet Veil?" it asked. "That was just a myth. A children's warning. It was real," Viral said. "And now it's awake again." Lizard-like elder from the Trask species hissed. "The humans don't know what they've touched." "They don't," Varel said. "That's what makes them dangerous." The Council pulled up footage grainy, taken from hidden probes near Earth's space. It showed the Vanguard warship drifting, alone, in orbit near Mars. Then, a flash. A shadow that wasn't cast by any sun. A brief bending of stars behind it, and then nothing. Again, silence. "We've only seen this once before," Viral said. "Thousands of years ago, in the ruins of the Warrain Empire, they heard something. Just like this. A signal, a tone. Their fleets followed it. And, asked a crystalline being near the end of the table, they were never heard from again." A new voice joined the room through a secure communication channel. A human voice. "Council." The voice said, "This is Ambassador Devin Carter of Earth. I request to speak." The room lit up with sharp tension. No one had invited Earth. Viral narrowed his eyes. "How did they find this frequency?" "We didn't," said the AI assistant beside him. "We left a trail open, in case they were smarter than we thought." The ambassador appeared as a hologram, standing tall, serious, human. He wore no weapons, no medals. It's just a simple Earth uniform. "You've been watching us, Carter," said. "We know. And now we know why." The Council members shifted in discomfort. "You think we called them?" Carter said. "But we didn't. We didn't even know they existed. And yet," said the Trask elder, "they came." "Something else brought them," Carter replied. "We found it." There was silence. Then Viral spoke. "Go on." "In the wreck of the alien ship near Pluto, our techs found a black crystal. It wasn't part of the ship's structure. It had been planted there, like a beacon," the Council murmured. Carter continued. "It had one message, buried deep in its code. Wake them." A green-skinned diplomat snapped. "Then you triggered it." "No," Carter said calmly. "It triggered itself when our scanners hit it. This was never a message meant for us. It was left there for someone else. Someone or something had been expecting a visit. Humanity had simply tripped the alarm." Back on Earth, Kara sat in a military debrief room, staring at a blank monitor. After what she had seen, the alien signal, the Vanguard's silence, the whispered message, she couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Only think Milo had been moved, somewhere secure. She hadn't seen him in days. A voice came through the speaker. "Lieutenant Miles, your assignment has changed. You will report to Deep Orbit Surveillance Post 9. Immediately." She frowned. "Why?" No answer, just coordinates. And a transport. Order she packed in silence. Her gut told her something was happening. something bigger than anyone would admit. Post 9 was a hidden outpost between Earth and the edge of the solar system. Few even knew it existed. When she arrived, the base commander greeted her with a nervous handshake. "We're tracking something," he said. I knew. He led her to the main sensor room. On the screen was a field of stars. Normal, peaceful. Then one star blinked out. Then another and another. Not explosions. Not fading light. Something was passing in front of them. Something huge. Kara leaned in. "How big is that?" "We don't know. It's not reflecting anything, not giving off heat. It's just blocking the sky." "What direction is it moving?" "Toward Earth." Back at the council chamber, Ambassador Carter's voice changed. "We need help," he said, "and we need the truth." Varel stood slowly. Earth is young, violent, reckless, but not unworthy. He turned to the others. "It's time we tell them what the Quiet Veil really is." The Trask elders slammed a fist. "We swore never to speak of it." "That vow was made when we believed it had gone forever," Varel said. "It hasn't." Turned back to Carter's projection. "Earth," he said, "did not bring the Quiet Veil back. But you have caught its attention. And now, if we do not act, all of us will fall." Carter nodded. "Then tell us." Varel took a breath, as if even saying the words might summon danger. "They are not a species," he said, "not a fleet. They are an idea, a command woven into the fabric of space. A kind of code that spreads through signals, through thoughts, through fear. Once heard, it cannot be forgotten. They were sealed away long ago, not destroyed, just quieted. The Warrain Empire used their most powerful minds to create a wall of silence around the galaxy until someone cracked it. Kara back. On Post 9, watched as more stars blinked out. Each one took longer to return. "Should we send a message?" someone asked. "No," she said quickly. "If we learned anything from the Vanguard, it's that they listen. And when they listen, people vanish." On Earth, the military began silent mobilization. Fleets repositioned. Defense grids activated. Civilian satellites quietly turned off. The stars remained still, but all across the planet, animals grew restless. Shadows seemed longer. People had dreams of voices whispering across the void. Back on the council station, Varel closed the meeting with one final warning. We must prepare, not for battle, but for silence. "And when it comes," he said, voice low, "no song, no scream, no language will save us." Only one species had ever resisted the Quiet Veil, and they were long gone now.
Ow.
It was Earth's turn to face the silence, but the question remained, would humanity speak back, or disappear into the stars, like all the others? The stars stopped blinking. For 3 nights in a row, nothing moved in the sky. No ships, no signals, no radio noise. It was like the galaxy was holding its breath. Captain Rourke knew what that meant. They were coming. He sat inside a sealed room beneath Mars Command, strapped to a table lined with neural scanners. Earth's top scientists circled him, watching as lines of code flowed across the monitors. His brain patterns weren't normal anymore. Every few minutes, the machines picked up pulses, strange ones, too structured to be random, too alien too. "Trace, they left something inside you," one doctor said. Rourke didn't speak. He hadn't said more than 5 words since he'd been rescued, but he was awake. His eyes followed everything. He saw more than they thought. Inside his mind, there was silence, and something behind that silence, watching, waiting, listening, far across. The galaxy, deep in a broken star system. An ancient machine opened its eyes. It wasn't alive. It wasn't metal either. It was something older, shell of energy wrapped around a mind that had no voice. It did not remember how it was built, only that it had one purpose. Listen for humanity now. It had heard them. The pulse had come. The door had cracked. And the stars had whispered the name again. Earth. The machine turned to the others. Thousands of dark orbs floating like forgotten satellites around a dead planet. They were waking too. For the first time in 10,000 years, they began to move. But not toward Earth, Not yet. First, they would clean the noise. Back on Earth, Kara sat in a silent command center beneath the South Pole. It was the only place Earth's defense force trusted, now buried deep underground. Shielded from space, she stared at a map of the solar system. Every satellite Earth had launched in the outer belt was going dark. Not destroyed, just erased. One by one, we're blind, said Commander Reeves beside her. We were never supposed to see them, Kara replied. Milo appeared on one of the screens. He was now stationed on the moon, working in a secure AI lab. We found something, he said. In the black crystal from the alien wreck. There's a message hidden deeper than we thought. Kara leaned closer. What kind of message? It's hard to explain, he said. It's not written in words or symbols. It's like a dream, trapped inside math, a sequence. Can you show us? Milo uploaded the file. The lights flickered. Everyone froze as the main screen filled with black static. Then a single image appeared, a spiral, perfect, pulsing. Moving slowly toward the center, and in the middle, a glowing eye. Not mechanical. Not human. Just watching. A whisper filled the room. No speakers. No sound, but they all heard it in their minds. You made the sound. Now, hear ours. People screamed. Some collapsed. The screen went blank. Reeves hit the panic switch, shut it down, kill the power. But the systems were already fried. Nothing responded. Then a small panel lit up in red. Message received. Reply. Sent. Kara turned to Reeves, who replied, no one. That was the answer they feared most. The Galactic Council fell into chaos. The broadcast had reached them too, even in their most secure zones. The whisper had arrived. Dozens of minor races went into hiding. Some self-destructed their deep space arrays. Others sent warning drones back in time-light messages, hoping distant colonies might survive. But one thing was clear to all of them now. The machines remembered humanity, and they were not coming to destroy. They were coming to finish what had been started long ago. Back when humans were something else, something more than they. Remembered, Kara was summoned to a secure meeting on Mars. There she found Rourke finally allowed to walk, though. He moved like someone carrying a ghost on his shoulders. They showed me something, he said quietly. What did they show you? Before the crew vanished? Before I blacked out? They opened the stars. Let me see. He looked her straight in the eyes. We've been here before. Kara frowned. What do you mean, humanity? Earth. Us. We're not new to the galaxy. We're not newcomers. We are. No, Rourke said. We're a second attempt. Kara didn't understand. He pointed to the spiral image Milo had found. It's not just a signal. It's a memory. They're showing us our past. Mistake. Milo appeared on a nearby terminal. He's right, Milo said. I ran the spiral through time modeling software. It's not just data, it's a history. A history of what? Kara asked. Humanity, Milo said. But not us. Another version. A version of humans that lived. Before. Before. What? Before the last silence? Inside the council archives, deep in a vault, only 5 beings were allowed to enter. Archon Virel stood in front of an old file. It was a relic, not digital, not copied. One of the only written records ever kept from the first contact age. He placed his hand on the seal. A voice in the chamber whispered, Are you sure you want to remember? The seal broke. Inside was a short sentence, written in Old Galactic Common. They were called the Origin. Their home, Earth. Virel closed the scroll, so it was true. Earth was not just another species. They were the architects and the ones who failed. Now, the machines were coming not just for destruction, but for reunion, to finish what had been started with the first. Humans, before time forgot them, before silence buried them in the galaxy. Once again, prepared to choose, join the silence, or stand with the sound. Earth had 7 days, and the stars were already listening. The message came without warning. No sound, no warning lights, no visible ship. Just one line etched across every display, on every moon base, every Earth station, every military screen. Come to Vega Point, alone. Captain Rourke read the message in silence. Vega Point was nothing. An old mining colony near a dead star, abandoned for years, no value. But now, someone or something wanted him there. Earth Command debated for hours. "We don't negotiate with threats," said one general. "This isn't a threat," Kara replied from the screen. "This is a test," Milo's voice chimed. "In from Lunar Command. They've ignored every fleet, every drone, every defense grid." Gasped, "But now they're calling one person." Reeves leaned forward, "And we send him in unarmed. Do we have a choice?" Kara asked. Silence. The decision was made. The shuttle was small. No escorts, no weapons. Rourke piloted it himself. He wore a simple suit, no insignia, no helmet. Just a pulse beacon that would track him in, till it couldn't. The journey took 16 hours. He didn't speak once. Inside his mind, the voice was back. Quiet, patient, almost home. Vega Point came into view. Where there had once been a small colony of miners, now there was nothing but black dust and rock. No buildings, no lights, but the land had changed. From orbit, it looked like something had melted the surface into glass. Carved into that glass was a symbol, miles wide. A spiral, the same one from the message. The same one burned into the Vanguard systems. Rourke landed in the center. His boots crunched on glass that wasn't cold. It pulsed faintly with warmth. He stood alone for 5 minutes. Then something rose from the dust. Not a ship. Not a person. A shape made of shifting metal and light didn't touch the ground. It didn't cast a shadow. It spoke in no language. But he understood. "You are the echo." Rourke didn't answer. "You carry what was left behind," it said. "The song that failed." He stepped forward. "What do you want?" Shape shimmered. "To finish the silence." "Finish it how?" "By folding the sound back in." He narrowed his eyes. "What sound?" "Your kind," it said. "You are noise in a quiet universe." Rourke looked around. "Why me? You were the first to listen, and the crew of my ship." "They didn't listen," the shape said. "They screamed." Back on Earth, the feed from Rourke's beacon was stable until it wasn't. At 2308 Earth Standard, all data cut. Every satellite near Vega Point shut off. One shuttle was sent to investigate. It never returned. Inside the chamber at Vega Point, Rourke was no longer standing on rock. He stood on a platform of shifting black glass, surrounded by walls of light. The shape spoke again. "We are not your enemy. You erased my crew," he said. "They were moved," it answered, "to a place outside sound. Until they are ready for what?" "To remember." "To remember what?" he demanded. The shape paused. "Who they are." Images flashed around him. The ancient humans. The first version, tall, golden-skinned. Eyes like stars. Minds built to shape reality with thought. They built the machines, and they left them behind and vanished. And Earth was born again. New humans, without memory, without control, but with one thing left buried inside them, the echo. Milo sat in the lunar lab watching the raw signal feed from Vega. Suddenly it came back online. But what came through was not video, it was data. Terraquoids of it, was flowing like a river of code. He yelled for backup. But as he watched, he began to cry. Because in the code he saw images, faces. The Vanguard's crew, still alive, still waiting. Their minds. Uploaded, stored, and now speaking. Not with words, but with memories. They remembered things no human had ever lived. Cities of floating stone, stars arranged by will, galaxy where Earth was the center, and then silence. At Vega Point, Rourke fell to one knee. His head throbbed. His heart raced. "You're showing me too much," he gasped. "He asked to know," the shape said. "Why now?" "'Cause others are listening," it said. and not all want the sound returned. The chamber darkened. Outside, the stars rippled. Another shape approached. Similar, but colder. Sharper. The first shape stepped back. "The purge is coming," it said. "They want silence forever, and you don't. I want to remember." The second shape spoke for the first time. "No more echoes, no more noise. End him." Rourke stood, weak but steady. "I'm not ready to die." "You already have," the second shape said. Rourke smiled. "Then maybe I've got nothing to lose." He reached for the only thing Earth had allowed him to carry, a small sphere embedded in his suit. It was dormant until now. It glowed. The shape paused. "What is that?" Rourke grinned. "A reminder." He pressed it. Spiral around Vega Point lit up white hot. A shockwave rolled through space, not sound, but something deeper. A memory bomb. The ancient machines screamed. For the first time, they felt. Not silence. Regret. Back on Earth, Kara watched as a ripple spread through the system. Stars shimmered. The blackout ended. The machines hesitated. And for the first time, they didn't erase. They paused, listened, and remembered. But something was still coming. Bigger than a war, older than hate. Earth only had days left to prepare. Because Vega Point was not a trap. It was the start of something much worse. A return. The stars didn't blink anymore. They pulsed. Rhythmic. Calculated. Alive, Kara watched from deep orbit command as sensor feeds changed. Colors, temperatures, gravitational waves. All shifting slowly toward something no one could name. Something that had noticed Earth and now waited. She turned to Commander Reeves. It started. Reeves nodded without looking. "We may not survive this, but they're afraid of us." Kara asked. "No," he said. "Afraid of what we've built." Beneath the surface of Antarctica, under 20 kilometers of ice, Earth's oldest secret began to wake. The chamber was called Vault Zero, built not by modern humans, but by the first ones, the origin civilization Rourke had seen in his visions. Long lost, long erased, till the spiral woke everything up inside the vault. A single device pulsed with light echo fire. No one knew what it did, only that it was to be used if the silence ever returned. And now, head Milo stood at the edge of the vault's control platform, staring down at the device. It didn't look like a weapon. It looked like a sphere of frozen lightning, floating in the air, suspended above a metal ring carved with symbols even Earth's best linguists couldn't read. "It's not tech," he whispered. "It's alive." Kara stood beside him, arms crossed. Rourke said this was never meant to fire unless Earth had no other choice. Milo nodded slowly. "Then someone thought we'd lose." "Will it destroy the machines?" she asked. "No. It'll destroy the memory of them," he said. She frowned. "What does that mean?" He looked up at her. "We don't erase them. We erase the idea of them. Total conceptual deletion. Cross the galaxy. Forget the enemy, and they die with the forgetting. Far beyond the system." The machines felt it. They paused mid-flight. They changed course there. Leaders and chant intelligences, born from silence, debated. One asked, "How did they find it?" Another replied, "They didn't. They remembered it." Third answered, "Then the echo is waking." They voted in unison. Send the core. Now, in Earth orbit. The Vanguard still drifted, empty dark, except for one small light in its engine room. A spark. A ripple. A heartbeat inside. Captain Rourke stood again. He didn't know how he'd returned. Last he remembered, he'd activated the pulse on Vega Point. Then darkness, and this. But the ship knew him, and it woke with him. Panels lit up. Hull plate shifted. Ship whispered its own voice. Defense pattern unlocked. Echo form 1. The ship changed. It folded on itself. Compressed. Reassembled. Not a warship. Any more a weapon. Rourke gripped the console. "Show me what you were built for." Back in Vault Zero, Milo stared at the readings from Echo Fire. "It's syncing with something," he said. "Where?" Kara asked. He pointed at the main screen. Not where. Who? Rourke. In orbit. Then the core arrived. It wasn't a ship. It was a presence. A cold sphere appeared just outside Saturn. At first it was the size of a fighter. Then it grew instantly, like it had always been that size, just hidden from time. 30 kilometers wide. Silent black. Thousands of smaller units began to separate from its surface. No weapons. No signals. Just drifting, watching, waiting. Every sensor pointed at Earth, and Earth saw them. Rourke stared at the enemy from his new cockpit. No fear, just understanding. They're not here to fight, he whispered. They're here to end the memory of us, the same way Echo Fire could erase them. They would try to erase Earth first, back at Vault Zero. Milo activated final phase prep. Once Echo Fire spins up, we only get one shot, he said. What if it targets the wrong thing? Kara asked. It won't. How can you be sure? He looked her dead in the eye. Because it's not aimed by us. Then who? He tapped the base of the machine. It's aimed by humanity's memory. That's when Kara understood. Echo Fire worked on belief, not sensors. The more they remembered the enemy, the clearer the threat, the stronger. Echo Fire's strike. Earth had to remember. All of it. Every moment. Every warning, every loss. They had to feel the fear. And the will to end it, together all around Earth. Broadcasts began. The public finally saw it, the ships, the shadows, the whispers, the spiral, the lost crew of the Vanguard, the faces of the first ones, and the truth. Humanity had been here before. They had created the machines, then tried to forget them. Now, they had returned, and they had one goal: silence all sound. But this time, Earth would answer. Not with words, but with the memory of what it meant to fight. On the moon. Every old ship was reactivated. On Mars, hidden cannons pointed toward deep space inside. Vault Zero Echo Fire spun faster, and in orbit. The Vanguard now, a glowing spear of golden light, charged toward the core. Rourke smiled for the first time in weeks. They thought we forgot. He locked his course. They were wrong. Vanguard fired, and the war began. The stars turned white, not from fire, not from destruction, from memory. As the Vanguard struck the first blow, a pulse erupted across the void, pure thought, pure history, blinding the sensors of both machine and man. Rourke's ship didn't explode. It became something else, a signal, a reminder. The core staggered, not physically, but mentally. The machines had expected weapons, bombs, lasers, but they hadn't expected belief. They hadn't expected humanity to remember what they once were, and what they were becoming again in Vault Zero. The Echo Fire glowed bright blue. Kara and Milo stared at it, shielding their eyes. It's reacting to the Vanguard, Milo shouted. It's sinking with the strike. Kara's voice was tight. Is it ready? No, he said. It's becoming ready. It's not a weapon. It's a choice. Across Earth, billions watched the skies. The stars pulsed in time with their fear, their hope, their memories. Children stared up and saw spirals in their dreams. Elders whispered stories that had no origin, tales passed down with no source. Now suddenly familiar, a voice echoed across every device on Earth, soft and impossible. The silence ends where memory begins. The core counterattacked. It didn't fire weapons. It released Forget Light, a black wave across the system. Aimed at Earth's past, satellites vanished from records. History files went blank. AI. Libraries corrupted in an instant. A full third of Earth's digital knowledge was gone in under a second. Whole nations forgot key events. It was working until they hit the vault and Echo Fire. Pushed back. A golden sphere erupted across the network. Every lost file restored. Every buried image revived. Every whisper of the first ones. That again Earth remembered, and memory fought back. In orbit, the Vanguard had no more form. It was energy. Now Rourke was inside it, not piloting, but guiding. He didn't speak, didn't scream. He remembered every moment aboard. The ship, every face in his crew, every glimpse of the spiral, and he sent it all back to the core in a blast of thought so pure it cracked the machine's shields. The core twisted in place for the first time. It spoke, "Stop remembering." Earth's answer came not from weapons, but from everywhere. A billion voices whispered one word: no. Machines changed tactics. They dropped ships, thousands of them, on fast approach vectors to Earth, Mars. The moon? No signals. No mercy. The purge had begun. Kara watched the sensor wall light up like a swarm of hornets. "They're going all in," Reeve said behind her. Kara gripped the rail. "Then we do the same." She looked at Milo. "Activate Echo Fire." He hesitated. "Once we do, there's no going back." "I know." He typed the final command. Echo Fire lifted from its ring. It hovered and began to spin. Slowly at first, then faster. Then it sang. Not music, not code. A song of memory. The kind you feel in your bones, in your heart. All of Earth felt it. People fell to their knees, wept, shouted, remembered, not just their own lives, but older ones. Past lives, 100,000 years of buried truth flooded back. The first ones had never left. They had been reborn again. And again, in every generation, waiting for the silence to return, waiting to answer it, and now they had Rourke's body, orbiting inside the Vanguard's new form. Began to glow, not with radiation, with purpose. The light poured from his eyes, his mouth, his veins. He wasn't dying, he was becoming. The machines tried to stop him. They fired weapons of thought. Blades of entropy. Time-SPLITTERS. All failed. Because they still didn't understand what they were fighting. Not a man, not even a species, but an idea. Humanity, raw, flawed, furious, free, and unforgettable. The Echo Fire reached full spin. A golden column of energy connected it to the sky, straight into the core. The machines screamed, not in pain. In realization, they couldn't silence humans, because humans were already part of the sound. The spiral didn't. It was born from it, and it could not be deleted. Kara and Milo watched the final wave begin. Echo Fire released its strike. Not in fire. Not in radiation. In memory, the machines blinked out of existence, not exploded, but erased from thought, galaxies away. Their copies vanished. Their records turned blank. Even the stars they had touched grew still. Only one thing remained. The spiral burned now into the heart of the system, into the moon, into Mars, into Earth's sky. A permanent reminder. Rourke floated among the stars. His body is mostly gone. His voice still clear. Broadcast to all of Earth. We were never lost. We were only waiting. Then silence. The Vanguard dimmed and faded. Galaxy didn't move for 3 full days. Then messages came, one by one. From distant races, from forgotten allies, from those who had once feared. Earth all said the same thing. We remember. Earth had done more than win. They had broken the silence. And with the spiral shining above, glowing softly every night, they had become what they were always meant to be. The voice in the dark, the sound that could never be forgotten, the echo that would never fade. The stars were quiet again, but it wasn't the old kind of quiet, the cold, lifeless one the machines had forced on the galaxy. This silence was different. It was peaceful, full of weight, full of waiting, the kind of silence that comes just before a voice speaks. Earth was the voice now, and the galaxy was listening. Kara stood in Earth Command's highest tower, overlooking the horizon. The spiral had become permanent, etched into the sky above every hemisphere. Not a weapon, not a mark of war, a symbol of survival, of memory, of humanity. Milo entered behind her, holding a datapad. Every relay's confirmed, he said. The core is gone. The last machine fragment erased itself 5 hours ago. It knew. It couldn't hide anymore. Kara nodded but said nothing. Milo stepped beside her. We won. She didn't look at him. Did we? Hesitated. No one on Earth died from the final wave, he said. The memory strike only touched the enemy, but we still lost people, she said quietly. Rourke, his crew. First contact team. So many gone. He didn't just die, Milo said. He became something more. She nodded. I know. And she meant it far above them. Something shifted in orbit. Not a ship, not a signal. A ripple in space itself, like something was folding back into reality. A voice followed, faint and growing. I remember. Kara's eyes widened. That's Milo. Already had the transmission locked, the spiral shimmered, and then, like mist, a shape stepped out of space. The Vanguard whole. Bright, alive, not made of metal now, but of memory, light, and purpose. Rourke's voice came through again. No static. No. Delay, just strength. I'm not gone. None of us are. Behind the ship, dozens of smaller lights blinked into existence. His crew returned, restored, not reborn as machines, but as something new. Humanity. Upgraded by what they had survived, by what they had remembered. The galaxy watched in awe for centuries. Humans had been seen as young, loud, emotionally. Now they were something else. A race that had erased the erasers. A people who had reached back into their ancient selves and pulled forward a power no one else had dared to believe in. The power to remember what was once lost and make it matter again. Soon, calls began. First from the nearest systems, then from across the spiral arms. Aliens who had stayed hidden. Races who had lost their own histories. Worlds who had lived in fear of the machines for generations. Now, they asked Earth for help, for memory, for strength, and Earth answered not with dominance, but with presence. They didn't invade. They visited. They didn't claim they shared, and wherever they went, one thing always remained. The spiral burned into metal, into glass, into the hearts of those who finally believed. That silence could be broken, Rourke's new form, if it could be called, that never returned to. Earth fully, he and his crew now lived partly outside time, guardians, signal keepers, memory, holders from their place beyond stars. They watched the galaxy heal, and they made sure the silence never returned. He spoke to Kara only once more, through a beam of light, bright as the dawn. We thought we were alone, but we were the light waiting to be seen. We were the sound waiting to be heard. And now, we are the memory no one can erase. Years passed, the galaxy changed, not through conquest, but through echo. Every species that had once known fear now knew voice, because the humans had reminded them how to fight, not with weapons, with will. And when the next shadow rose, whatever it might be, there would be no silence. Not ever again, because now, across 1,000 stars, one truth remained: humanity had entered the galactic stage, and they had brought with them the one thing stronger than fear: memory, unbreakable, unstoppable, forever heard, forever human, forever loud.